welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Sagittarius, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of May. I hope you're well. I'm using the Triple Goddess for you today, which is interesting because it doesn't often come out as a main deck. In the last 30 seconds I felt my energy levels I feel suddenly very, very awake in a way that I didn't 30 seconds ago. So I feel compelled to pass on the message that I am hearing over and over again in my head right now, which is ears up, Sagittarius. There's something afoot. So if the reading does resonate with you, there will be an extended at the end. You can access that in the description box underneath. There'll be a link that takes you to Vimeo, or you can come and join the Patreon community that I have. That is just one of the most wonderful and blessed things in my life, and you will get all the access to all the extended stuff for no extra cost. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's see what this sudden energy spike is all about, Saggy, because I'm super curious myself now. Sagittarius, right? So we have the Two of Wands and we have the Devil coming up in your recent past. That's Capricorn energy right there. What about current energy for Sagittarius? Ooh, we have the Star. That's Aquarius. And what's coming towards Sagittarius, please? Thank you. We have the King of Cups. Now, when I started the meditation that I do before I start any of these readings, I sit and I try and, just get bedded into the energy, and I feel like that's absolutely happened because I'm kind of fizzing now. The Scorpio full moon kept raising its head as being an important thing for you, and there was this whole dialogue that went on about how because of your proximity to Scorpio on the zodiac chart, you're literally right next door, that you may already be feeling the effects of this huge Scorpio full moon that we're going to be having. I think it's on the 16th of May, at least it is in the UK, I think, but maybe it's worth double checking it. But then there was also a counter thing that said, possibly because of your proximity to Scorpio, you may not see this coming, whatever this is, whatever the full moon eclipse, there's an eclipse happening in there as well. You may not see what this is until it literally drops on your head. I don't feel like this is a bad thing, because we have the Empress card here at the bottom of the deck. Ooh, look at this. And we have the Wheel of Fortune, right, which strictly is a Sagittarius card because it's ruled by Jupiter. And then we have the Sagittarius card of Temperance underneath. This is abundant, vibrant energy going on here, but it does feel, the more I'm speaking and now I'm looking at these here, that something is going to come jumping out of the blue at you. And I kind of want to counsel you from a Carrie Leo perspective. Take your time, be measured, all of these kind of things. But the way that my energy levels have just been sparked up, I feel like I want to be looking here, there and everywhere, like a meerkat or something, Be on the lookout. Now, let's get some clarifiers and see what this is about. The reason that I mentioned the Scorpio full moon stuff is because this King of Cups here is a Scorpio card. Whatever happens for you in the month of May, you can expect it to absolutely be touching your emotional centre. Feels like some hella growth coming for you, Sagittarius. And, maybe you might be having little future echoes of kind of spiritual awakening, kind of, chittering at you from somewhere, and you're like, what's that? What's that? What's that? It's kind of in the offing, but it hasn't quite hit yet. Let's see what this is all about. Tell me about this Two of Wands and this. Oh, now there's the first one. We've got the Knight of Pentacles. We've got the Justice card in reverse. Let's get one more because we did have those two cards out there. And we've got the Nine of Wands. That's interesting. Tell me about the Star card, please. I knew it was coming. Like, I could feel it. It was right here. Did I not just say something about? No, I didn't. I maybe just thought it. Right, there's the World card. Not at all surprised to see that. Tell me about the Star card. What do we have here the Hanged Man. I knew that was coming out as well because that was the wrong way around in the deck, and I just put it back in and there it is. Look at all this major arcana that's creeping out here. Tell me about the King of Cups, please. We have the Emperor, and we have, interesting, we have the Seven of Swords in reverse. This feels to me, with that Five of Swords at the bottom of the deck, and the Magician and the High Priestess behind it, I think you're getting through a major block this month, Sagittarius. Now, it's quite interesting to me in that all of the readings that I've done for May here contain some sort of aspect of this, right? We've got themes that are coming, rippling right across the signs of something kind of coming up here. Now, for some signs, it's kind of like, you know, you've got to release these things, you've got to let these things go, and it's going to be painful, it's going to be difficult. For you, I feel like it's just entirely liberating, and is that not what we want, Sagittarius? Do we not want to be absolutely free of anything that might bind us by the ankles? I'm lumping myself in here with you now because if you haven't noticed, like I take on, feel the energy of the sign to the degree that I kind of feel like I am that sign while I'm doing the reading, right? So hence why I'm all like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed where I wasn't 10 minutes ago. For you, I think there are a number of misapprehensions that you have been labouring under, and there's a very wise man that I know says, right, you don't know what you don't know. And the month of May, for me, I think for you, rather, is about discovering what it is that you didn't know so that you now know it. Bear with me. Let's have a look at the cards. I feel like this is going to kind of come out better with those. So we start off with this Two of Wands, and we've got the Devil card here. Now, that's quite interesting because generally, statistically and probably, when the Two of Wands comes out, there's usually a card either side of it. Right? It becomes then almost like an either or. You can choose this or you can choose that, because the Two of Wands is a crossroads energy. You're arriving at a place and being like, I've got to go one way or I've got to go the other. But it seems like it's a little bit of a commentary on your past. Now, usually this is the kind of recent past. You know, so it's just like what has happened to you in the last week, 2 weeks, something like that. Maybe it's as far back as a month, but not very often, right? This doesn't feel like that. This feels like something that's kind of come into your consciousness about decisions that you have had to make in the past and how they have been directed, how they have been potentially in some ways kind of manipulated, because it's almost like whatever you did, you were fucked. You were always going to choose the wrong thing. Now, not because in some ways you are deficient and you can't make good judgments for yourself or anything like that, but it feels like there's this kind of sticky web of illusion, right? And it doesn't seem to really weigh anything, but it's kind of sticky. And so you would either do the right thing, which is the thing that you would do if you had all of the information, and you would piss off some sort of character from your past, or you would do what they wanted to do, what they had manipulated you to do, and in the eyes of everybody else, and possibly in, you know, as far as your soul's concerned, you had done the wrong thing. Do you see how there's no alternative? You were just always going to fuck up somewhere. What I feel is starting to dawn on you is the fact that you never had all of the information. At no point were you given all of the information and encouraged to make a decision that felt right with you. It's all been manipulation, coercion, you know, pointed criticism, passive aggression, you know, things like that. I'm fascinated that this should have come up because you've had so much of a leap in this the last 2 years, but certainly in the last year, right? You've come on leaps and bounds, and we haven't really thought about the past that much. It's been about dealing with what's in front of us and then kind of where we're going to go in the future. But we have Mercury retrograde probably happening now. I'm a bit late with these readings, so I do thank you for your patience in waiting for me. It's Friday the 6th as I'm recording this. I think it's the 10th that it actually goes retrograde. We're just in the shadow period at the moment, right? in addition to these eclipse cycles. So what is the energy of the retrograde, right? Well, it makes planets appear as if they're going backwards. They aren't actually going backwards, but they appear like they're going backwards from our positioning. So from our position, we're kind of looking at this energy of the past and seeing what we now see that we didn't see before. Or we're looking at how we haven't tied up a loose end properly, how there hasn't been a sense of completion that has properly occurred because we didn't have all of the information. This feels to me like a really, really important month for you, where you are getting all of the information now, whether it is being given to you by persons unknown who were doing the coercing, doing the, putting this kind of sticky, it feels horrible, it's kind of sticky web on you, right, and guiding you, manipulating you to a particular position. Or whether this is just you reflecting, and as I say, I feel like it's reflection, maybe through conversations that you're having with people, where you suddenly put two and two together and you see something that you were completely oblivious to before. And this feels like it's changing everything for you. Now, just to really, drive this fucking home, and I know that there's a whole subset of Sagittarians who were dealing with a Virgo at some point a couple of years ago, right? We've got this Virgo card here. Doesn't have to be Virgo, could be an energetic thing, right? And we'll get to that in a second. We have the Justice card in the reverse, and we have the Nine of Wands. Now, whether or not you were dealing with a Virgo, this is a situation or person or persons that you were committed to, right? In your way, in the best way that Sag can manage, you were committed to this, right? And there's also, I'm also getting this feeling of you just actually trying to do the right thing, right? And that damned if you do, damned if you don't feeling came through whatever it was that you did. But just as we have the Devil card there, like, this Justice in reverse is a really important card to say that actually you've been kind of hard done by here, a little bit, right? It feels like the veil is lifting for you, Sagittarius, in whatever way. And like I said, it might be nothing to do with this person. It might just be a conversation you have where you recall a thing and somebody goes, "Are you sure about that? That seems a bit strange." And then you actually stop and look at it with fresh eyes and you go, "Oh, no, that is a bit strange," right? Because somewhere, someone has been very, very sneaky indeed. Someone has been very devious indeed. And they have, it's manipulation, it's coercion. This feels like it's what's coming into your consciousness. The extent to which this has framed your worldview, right? Or even dictated your actions, actually. That's probably more a thing. Certainly had an influence on the choices that you made in the past. And we've got this Nine of Wands here, and that can talk about boundaries, and it can talk about a certain amount of resilience that comes through. But actually, I feel like it's something that's just kind of sitting you, being like, wow, yeah, I did not see this before. Kind of hanging off your wand and going, well, shit, And it's almost like you have to revisit a narrative of an old situation, go back through it, and work out what the fuck it means now, in light of the new information that you have, right? Where you would make different choices, where the crossroads as they presented to you might actually have had you cantering off in an altogether different direction. It feels a little bit like whirlpool. It's a whirlpool energy, and it's kind of growing. And I do feel that if not by the full moon, then certainly, and its associated eclipse, then certainly in the days, not the weeks, the days after, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about here, right? But, and this is where it gets very exciting for you, we've got the Star card appearing right here. Now, this is in your current energy. Now, your current energy is wherever you are right now as you are watching this video. So for some of you, it might actually be at the arse end of May, right? Whatever. Take it as it resonates to you. We have the Star. Now, the Star is a card of cleansing. It is a card of healing. It's sometimes called the Wish card, but it's a card of the future. And I think this is really important, right? Because I have spoken before. I can't remember, and actually it was probably pretty recently. I've spoken at length about what it is that we can do for our future when we change the narrative of our past, right? And that can run a whole gamut of different scenarios. So say, for example, you're absolutely convinced that you are crap at paperwork and things like that because the person that you were with insisted on doing the paperwork because it was a control thing for them. And then at some point they go, but you're shit at doing this, like you need me, that kind of thing, right? This is an example, doesn't have to be the exact thing. There are lots of different ways in which this can manifest. And so you kind of internalize that, well, I'm just shit, I cannot do anything like that, just can't do it, right? When the reality of the situation is that you never really had a chance to flex your muscles on this one, right? You never had a chance to actually develop them gains on this particular skill. And yes, it might be slightly complicated, and yes, it's a little bit outside of your comfort zone, but is it completely eluding you if you were to sit down and learn these things? No, it's not. And so the notion that this then has became a method of control by somebody else that you permitted to happen for whatever reason, and maybe, just maybe, Sag, there was a bit of laziness or something like that. It was kind of like relief that somebody else was going to be taking care of that and you didn't have to worry about it. But it came back to bite you on the arse. And I think there isn't just one way that this has happened. I think that there are myriad ways in which this has happened. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because the Star card is about absolutely flushing all of that out of your system. We have both the World card and the fucking Hangman. I felt both of them. If I didn't mention them, I should just mention them when I feel them. Because you have got an opportunity to bring a major cycle to a close here this month, right? And I'm not overstating the importance. I'm actually completely understating the importance of the revelations that you will have in your mind this month, right? It's like a cascade. Once you start pushing at things, you're like, oh no, that's cardboard, that's just falling over, that's not even a fucking thing either, You don't know what you don't know. Except that you will know what you don't know, and you will know what you know by the end of this month. Because this huge cycle is coming to an end. It is liberating you, it is freeing you up for something exciting coming towards you. I can't tell you how kind of giddy and fidgety I feel while I'm sitting here. I'm not really a fidgety person. Not much, anyway. And it all revolves around this Hanged Man. Now, the Hanged Man can be about submission and sacrifice and all of those things that we fire signs find a little bit icky, right? We don't like giving up. We don't like giving in. But the other message here of this card, because all tarot cards are multivalent, is talking about enlightenment. It's talking about seeing the world from a different perspective because you are looking at it from a different perspective. I mean, this Hanged Man is based on the legend of Odin and is hanging himself upside down from the Tree of Knowledge, right? To literally see the world in a different position. Now, later on in that story, he also puts out one of his own eyes, and I don't suggest that you do that. However, if you can look at your past with different eyes, wiser, more enlightened eyes, you can see the things that you missed before. And I think that this is helping you put something down that has had its sticky web over you for a very long time. And I couldn't be more excited about this, because once that is put down, we've got something's coming for you, Sag. In the best way possible, right? Don't be alarmed. I think it's really, really good, whatever it is. But it's coming on the other side of what this realization does for you, right? So this realization is that, one thing amongst many realizations, is that you have been hoodwinked in the past. And you were hoodwinked possibly because you cared, but possibly because you didn't care, interestingly enough. You weren't that attentive. You were kind of somewhere else. Possibly, for some of you at least, anyway. And that now that you see where you were manipulated, where you were trapped, where you were coerced, where you all of these things, right? Rather than feeling totally crap about yourself, which let's face it, that would be a kind of reasonable feeling after this, you know, bit wounded, bit hurt, like what the fuck, somebody's taking advantage of me. It feels like it's just exploding all of these myths that you hold about yourself, right? And all of the ways in which you have chosen to hold yourself back because of what you have experienced before and the way that you internalized it, they're just incinerated. They don't exist anymore, right? And this feels to me like it's incredible for really focusing your attention on where you go next, because I think it's often missed about Sagittarius is they go, yeah, okay, you do kind of flit around with something, but if you find something that really holds your attention, like, you're all in. There's no limits, there's no holding back. You will push to an extreme, right? All of that incredible fire energy that you've got can get absolutely concentrated on one spot, and you're just causing fucking wildfires everywhere, you know, if you wanted to. Because we've got the King of Cups next. Right? The King of Cups is what is coming towards you in May, and I feel like with all of these blocks moved out of the way, what you've got rushing in is a new level of emotion that you did not think you had access to. I mean, maybe you thought you were right up there, you know, just topped out at the top of the tank, and that's it. And then all of a sudden, like, somebody's kind of like, I don't know, put another tank on the side, like the thing lower down, and then suddenly there's just space because this is all just expanding, you know. The King of Cups, like I said, is Scorpio energy, and the full moon, the eclipse, this really does seem to be playing a big part in what is going on. But it's about really swelling you up emotionally, right? It's actually about allowing you to really be comfortable with your own depth, because that's something that I see Sagittarians like shy away from a lot, like to the degree that they would pretend that they don't have any. And I'm like, so who are you dealing with? Come on, I can see it. I've got a lot of Scorpio in my chart, thank you very much, right? I can see this stuff, you know. They accepting it, right? The amount of expansion I'm feeling in this reading is it's incredible, and for some other signs it would be completely overwhelming, but because you are kind of intensity junkies, right, this is absolutely going to blow your mind in the best possible way, right? We've got the Emperor and we've got the Seven of Swords here. Now the Seven of Swords is that card of deceit, right? It's actually, you know, in its upright it would be better off sat over here with the other cards, but it's turned into the reverse, right? And I do feel it's a reflection on you, how you are growing into yourself. You know, the Emperor is the divine masculine, right? And it doesn't matter if you're male or female. The tarot doesn't actually care at all about that. It's about the expression of the energy. So the male is very active energy. Female expression is very passive, right? But the Emperor is also the King of Kings. So he takes in all of the attributes of the King of Cups, but he also takes in the attributes of your king, the King of Wands and the King of Swords and the King of Pentacles, right? There's an unlocking going on here of all of the things that you can achieve. Your innate understanding of what you can achieve on the other side of this process, right? I just want to point out, you know, the shadow cards at the bottom of the main deck here. We've got the Empress, who is the counterpart to the Emperor, right? This may well revolve around relationships for you. I don't feel like it's somebody new kind of blasting into your life. It might be clearing the way for somebody new to blast into your life, right? But it might be absolutely enhancing the bond that you have with somebody right now. If it's not, it's about that balance, right? And I feel it's more about the balance of the masculine and the feminine, where no bit of you is out of alignment, because the Temperance card is about temperance and moderation. It's about holding all of those things in that beautiful balance and healing yourself so that this can happen. You know, the Wheel of Fortune here is fascinating because it is speaking to what it is that you need to learn, and you will be learning it this month, right? Whatever information you don't have, you will have by the end of the month, and it will have an effect on you. No shadow of a doubt in my mind about that. Completely forgotten what I was saying. Completely forgotten. I was getting probably a little bit too close to what they don't want you to know yet. Right. Oh, Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune. Yeah. That moment when we really fucking learn something. Right? Your soul learns something and it takes in a lesson that it will never have to learn again because it understands it to its fullest extent. But it's also about the way that things are about to change for you, Sagittarius. Like I said, the change comes after what changes in here first. This is an outstanding month for you, right? But already I'm looking at June and I'm feeling like June is just going to blow your fucking mind again. But it's going to be different because June is going to be about outside of you. It's how the outside now suddenly starts to match the inside. You don't need to worry about being taken for a fool again because you've seen the lesson now. And now you are growing. Look at that. Where was that? It was under here. There. Five of Swords. You know, where you are labouring under a misapprehension about everything. Anything, everything. That's going. It's clearing out. And what did you have underneath there? The Magician and the High Priestess, which for me are the real power couple right here of the tarot. Though obviously the Emperor and the Empress are too. It's the balance. So if you're on your own, you can expect it to be your internal balance. Even if you are in a partnership, you can expect it to be your own internal balance, but maybe it is also about the balance between you and another, right? Come back to this Nine of Wands here. Absolutely speaking about where your boundaries were in the wrong fucking place. That's how somebody was able to coerce you in the way that they were, able to manipulate you in the way that you were. It's all disappearing now. You feel very, very powerful to me. By the end of this month, Sagittarius, you will feel very, very powerful because you are standing in your own power now. And nobody can take this from you without your consent. I am so fucking excited about this. So, I'm going over to Vimeo now. I'm going to pull this apart a little bit. Have a drink of water because I've been talking 10 to the dozen for the last 27 minutes. So if you would like to join me over there, I would love to see you. The link is down in the description box, or you can hop over to Patreon. To be honest, you've probably already seen this because it's always put up in advance. If not, no shade. Just be prepared for ructions this month. But don't worry about it. It's not going to feel like tower moments. It's not going to feel like somebody's pulled the rug underneath you. It's just this absolute dawning realization that sets you free. You can't put a price on that. It's outstanding. Right. Know that I love you all very, very much. And I will see you soon.